Yashica, the once iconic camera manufacturer, recently decided that its reputation wasn't quite tarnished enough. There's a new, there was a new Kickstarter campaign in town. The Mimi Micro Mirrorless Yashica I'm Back. Huh? What a name. Honestly, the name kinda confusing, but I think we should be calling it the Mimi because this is a collaboration between the company Yashica and the company I'm Back. Okay, wait, last minute editing note. I've been working on this video for quite a while now. It's an abbreviation, Micro Mirrorless, Mimi. Haha, I get it now. You may recall the company I'm Back from their Kickstarter campaign where they made that little doohickey that turned your film cameras into digital. The Mimi was funded within 30 minutes of its Kickstarter launch and raised a whopping $600,000.
So tired of this.
It promises to redefine photography on the go. After years of carrying around bulky DSLR and mirrorless cameras, the time has come for a compact device that delivers professional quality images in a portable package.
Right.
Oh geez, wow, these are so bulky. I don't know how I'll ever manage to carry them. Now for real though, like, have these guys ever heard of, phones?
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
To be fair, they are leveraging this as an alternative to using your smartphone. You know, an alternative that's lower quality and probably assembled in a Chinese sweatshop. Now you might be wondering why I'm being so negative.
I just naturally have a negative personality!
I haven't even tested out the thing, and after making this video, the odds of Yashica sending me one for a test drive...
Can't say as I have high fucking hopes where that's concerned.
And how do I know that the Mimi is gonna be a shit show? It doesn't really take a massive amount of observation hockey to know that this has all happened before. Super sleek and flashy promotional video, check. Lots of young people using it, check. Platitudes about innovation, check. Striking lack of sample photos and videos in the promotional piece, check. This time they're at least buried at the bottom of the Kickstarter, but you know, it's the same idea. This whole thing bears a striking resemblance to another Yashica Kickstarter, the Yashica Y35. The name Yashica was once synonymous with quality. Some older Yashica cameras are highly desirable today, the T4, the Electro, the 124G, but just like my favorite Free Throw album, those days are gone. Yashica was founded in Japan in 1949, then it was bought out in 1983 by Kyocera, and finally in 2008, Kyocera sold the trademark to Hong Kong-based MF Jebsen Group, which is a weird sort of conglomerate that focuses on all sorts of photo-related things like venture capital, agriculture, and freight forwarding services. Yashica fit right into that very photo-related portfolio. In 2017, Yashica teased a comeback campaign with a video series titled The Silence of Story. It got people hyped, they launched the crowdfunding campaign, scammed people out of $1.28 million bucks, and thus the Y35 was born. But why, you ask, do I call their crowdfunding a scam? First off, we see the word Japan thrown around a whole lot here. Location, Japan. Yashica, Japanese camera brand since 1949, with almost 70 years experience in camera and optics development. Japan. Yet curiously, the Kickstarter was requesting Hong Kong dollars. Interesting. Now, I am not a geography, but I'm pretty sure Japan is not in China. The Kickstarter campaign was riddled with crazy rough translations to English. Taste as analog camera. Huh? Every Y35 image is real, carefully captured in its true moment. And here's a couple of my favorite knee slappers. It features a glass lens for super sharp photos.
Wrong.
The above photo is for reference only. It just intends to illustrate the style and mood. Yes, of course, please don't show me any sample photos from the product I'm about to buy. The bottom line is MF Jebsen Group, whatever they are, along with the help of Kickstarter and backer camp, use the Yashica name to stir up a buzz in the analog photography community. They use the tradition, all the right buzzwords, and the brand recognition to lure people in. And it worked. They made a lot of money.
You can't keep getting away with it!
And oh boy, that's just Yashica's history on Kickstarter. The company I'm Back is just as guilty. A cursory glance at their Kickstarter shows that the overwhelming majority of comments are refund requests or they're just deleted.
Nice.
But I'm Back is kind of low-hanging fruit in my opinion. I don't really feel the need to take a swing at them because they're just some grifter bullshit company milking the proverbial udders of nostalgia.
Ew.
Oh, what the hell, I'll take a couple swings.
And you have the lenses. I don't like use this.
You heard it straight from the horse's mouth. He doesn't like using it, and he made the thing. I didn't cut that in any way. That is directly from their channel. And also, I mean, maybe this is just me being cynical, but wouldn't this have been a great opportunity to say, hey, we're filming this video on the Mimi. This is how the footage looks. How do you have 1,700 people backing your Kickstarter and 0 comments on this video? What is going on here? If you're still not convinced by all the Kickstarter shenanigans, I got good news for you. I spent a disgusting amount of time with the Y35. So let's talk all about what it's like to use this lovely camera. How did we go from the Electro to the Y35? From this to this?
Damn it, how could this have happened?
The Y35 promised the film experience without the film. To achieve this, they developed the Digifilm system. Basically, you have these little cheapo plastic cartridges that don't even sit in the camera properly to emulate the sensation of loading film into your camera. Each Digifilm applies a different look to your photos. You have black and white, you have color effects, even different aspect ratios. It's a cool idea in theory, but in practice, it's stupid. It's extremely limiting because it's not like you're getting a raw photo you can mess with later. The looks are just married to your photos. What's interesting is that Digifilms have different ISOs, but that number is actually meaningless. ISO 1600 Digifilm will just shoot at whatever ISO the camera decides, so that's cool. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that it's impossible to do anything cool with this camera. But if you're familiar with Doom Eternal, this is basically photography on ultra nightmare mode, and you just walked into the Holt Slayer gate with no extra lives before they patched it. If you know, you know. In the right light, and this is a big one, when the camera actually works, you can get some photos that are about as good as a mid-2000s Digicam. But I really need to emphasize that whole working correctly part. By far the worst part of this camera is the shutter. For a Kickstarter campaign that focused so heavily on the decisive moment, it is fantastic to have a camera that reacts literally seconds after you press the shutter. In fact, the first time I shot with the Y35, I was amazed to find that most of the photos I took with it were not the photos I composed, but actually the second after I took the photo and put the camera back down. So from that shoot, I have a beautiful collection of motion blur, which coincidentally is kind of in now. Obviously, motion blur can make beautiful, striking images. This might be a hot take, but I prefer having motion blur in my images, you know, when I set the camera that way, and not whenever the camera just decides to do its own thing and basically not work right. When you fire off the shutter, you also hear this really awful shutter sound effect.
How embarrassing.
The rolling shutter is majestically bad. It is sensationally terrible. It is one of the worst cases of rolling shutter I have ever seen. Though I will say the rolling shutter sometimes produces some pretty humorous results, also known as nightmare fuel. Turns out the Leaning Tower of Cheesa was in Stanford all along. The flappy SD card door is so fiddly, cheap, and infuriating. So much so, actually, that, yeah. Would you be shocked if I told you the viewfinder was wildly inaccurate? Because the viewfinder is in fact wildly inaccurate. The photos come out way wider than what you see in that viewfinder. In this shot, I framed up for the tops of the building and the fire escape, and this is what the photo actually looks like. Viewfinder? Hardly know her. And now join me, if you will, for a little bit of surgery. Let's just open this sucker up real quick, and oh wow, would you look at that, a piece of metal to make the camera feel heavier. And when you dig deeper, oh wow, would you look at that, a second piece of metal to make the camera feel heavier. $1.28 million, ladies and gents. The lens is actually just a plastic shell for a much smaller camera within the camera. And most importantly, JL3272A. No, I'm not having a stroke, and that's not a car license plate number, but it does have something to do with the car. It's actually a chipset found in a dashboard camera. Lakeside Toyota did a review of one if you're interested to see how the dash cam works. Now, quick side note here, I found this out from Point and Shoot Club's teardown of the camera. I'm gonna link that in the description below. But weirdly, my Y35's board looks a little bit different from theirs. Not sure if it's the same exact camera, but it looks pretty similar to me. So yes, the Yashica Y35, the camera that people paid $150 for on Kickstarter, is using a dash cam. Using the string fruit to puppeteer the corpse of a once beloved camera only to shove a dash cam into it is like, that's a unique kind of twisted. The current state of Yashica is shameful. Yashica will give their name to anyone. I'm half expecting to go to the store and buy a fucking Yashica plunger. A Yashica plunger. It's so stupid. The Yashica Y35 isn't even good enough to be called a toy. Since I first acquired this little shit heap, companies have been engaged in a race to the bottom. Who can make the cheapest, shittiest camera possible? We must make it cheaper. We must make it perform worse. From Kickstarter, people paid $150 for this thing, and it was because of the Yashica name. Thank God I didn't pay that much for this camera. Sorry, guy on eBay I bought this thing from. You might be asking yourself why?
What?
Why am I putting up this video now? The campaign is over. Yashica, Jebsen, I'm Back. Whoever got away with a cool 600,000 bucks, no big deal. Kickstarter did nothing but enable this crap, and the ones who will be inevitably left holding the bag, you guessed it, the backers. It's time to stop. If you follow this channel, you're smart. You're a cut above the rest. Don't back campaigns like this. Support companies like Lomography who actually do right by their customers. The Yashica you knew and loved is gone. It's time to accept that and move on. Shoot the old cameras. Why on earth would you want a Y35 over an Electro? To all those who backed this campaign, I am genuinely sorry that I didn't get this video out sooner. Not that I have the biggest platform to stand on to announce the next great era of pirates, but you know, it's something. I'm hoping for the best for you guys, but I can't wait for one of you goobers to put your Kickstarter Mimi camera into my P.O. box, cause I sure as shit ain't giving these fucking ass clowns a penny. I originally had a more optimistic ending to this video, but that was for when the Kickstarter campaign was still active, so I don't really know how to end this video now.
Like and subscribe. Sweet Loop Photography. Domain.